So you're ready to apply for a mortgage, but you're not sure how to prepare or what kind of questions are going to be asked. Well, let's talk about it. First, it's recommended that you set aside 10 to 15 minutes to have the phone conversation. And we're going to start with basic questions like, what is your name? Where do you live? Where do you work? When I talk to clients on the phone, I'm filling one of these out by hand. It's pretty detailed, and I would recommend making the phone call in a private space because you're gonna be giving personal information like birth dates, social security numbers, and income. We're gonna need to collect a 2-year residence history. So if you've bounced around a bunch, you've got 4 addresses over the past 2 years, we need to document all of them. Same goes for job history. We need to know each employer for the past 2 years, as well as exactly when you worked at each of the places. We're going to ask who you do your banking with, checking and savings. Do you have retirement accounts, stocks, bonds, CDs? We want to know all available assets that we can use, not only to determine how much of a down payment and closing costs you have, but also how much in reserves, because that's going to play a role in your qualification. We're going to ask questions regarding your credit history. Have you been the subject of a lawsuit? Are you in a bankruptcy? Have you ever had a foreclosure, short sale? Do you pay alimony or child support to anybody? Are you a veteran? We need to determine what kind of loan programs you can qualify for. Every question that we ask during the application process serves a purpose. It's gonna feel like an interrogation, and it is to a point, but all of the data points that we collect are vital to provide the best service possible. If you think there's a piece of information that's important that we didn't ask about, absolutely bring it up during that first conversation. It may or may not be important. What kind of documents are we going to need to collect after we've run your application and pulled credit? Well, if you're a W-2 employee, we're gonna need to see a couple of recent pay stubs. We're gonna need W-2s from either last year or the past 2 years. We're gonna wanna collect a bank statement for each asset, and that bank statement is going to need to be all pages, even if it's blank, even if it's a cover page, even if it's a BS advertisement page. We do need to see all pages. We're going to need a copy of photo ID. This is for Patriot Act compliance, as well as for us to verify some of the data that we've entered to make sure names are spelled correctly, we've got your address right, and all of that. If you're self-employed, it's going to be imperative for us to collect 2 years worth of tax returns, both personal and business if filed that way. If you're divorced or separated, we're going to need to see a separation agreement and or divorce decree. It's a lot of documentation up front, but the sooner this gets collected, the better job we can do for you and avoid pitfalls. There's really no reason to be hesitant or nervous to reach out to a mortgage professional to apply and find out what your options are. Yes, it can feel a little bit like a financial colonoscopy, and it is to a point. I mean, you're asking a lender to let you borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars. They are going to dig deep. But trust me when I say we've seen it all. Don't be embarrassed if you think your credit isn't great. Don't be embarrassed that you've overdrawn your checking account. As loan originators, we've seen it all. I've seen credit scores in the low 400s. I've seen people with negative bank account balances. There's really nothing that's going to surprise us at this point. So you can feel confident that we're not going to judge you. We're going to do our best to help you. And at the end of the day, we get paid to close loans. So if there's a way to make it happen for you, we're going to do it. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. 910-742-6886 is my cell phone, or you can email me, justin@acfsmortgages.com. Hope to hear from you.